Hello everyone. So in today's discussion assignment, we are to argue whether relational database will become extinct or not. And by relational database, what we mean is structured query language, SQL. So SQL is a set of tables that have predefined relationship between them. So SQL is used to store and retrieve structured data. So this one deals with data that is well structured and then has relationship between them. So a lot of organizations do use SQL to store and retrieve their data, and some of these organizations can be schools, banks. Think about any organization that needs to store and then retrieve data. So in a setting like in a school setting, SQL can be used to store and retrieve data such as student ID, student programs, student names, details, anything relating to the students. And then in a bank setting, SQL can be used to store and retrieve data such as user accounts, money transfers, withdrawals, debits, deposits, amongst others. Um, SQL is a very good database system to use because it's very much secured compared to other database systems. And SQL is also ACID compliant. So what we mean by ACID compliant is ACID simply is the acronym for atomicity, consistency, isolation, and then durability. So atomicity simply means that when a customer purchases an item, money is withdrawn from the customer's account and then deposited to the merchant's account. So if the deposit is not successful, then the withdrawal doesn't take place. Yes. And then consistency, what consistency simply means is that if an input is invalid, the database returns to its state before the transaction. Like so, prior to the transaction, if an input is invalid, the database returns to the previous status it was in before the invalid input. And then isolation. What isolation simply means that any unfinished transactions remain isolated. So it also ensures that the transactions are processed securely and then independently. So whenever there is an unfinished transaction, um, it is isolated. Yes. And then durability. So SQL is also durable. So when we talk about durability, what we mean is that the data is saved by the system even if the transaction fails. So when the transaction fails, it is saved in the system. Yes, exactly that. But then SQL has some drawbacks. So drawbacks like it is not flexible, and then in a situation where the organization is growing, um, it is not you are unable to expand. Yes, so we talk about scalability. So um, no SQL, so that is the non-relational database, non-relational query language, came in to solve this problem of flexibility and then scalability. So no SQL is able to store and retrieve data such as images, so in social media and all of that. So think about Facebook, think about Twitter, think about um, all the social media, and then think about your Apple Music. So NoSQL is able to um, arrange the tracks of a particular artist so that you are able to um, listen to the artist's music all throughout and all of that from the many artists or from the many musicians you do have. So as to whether no SQL is going to be extinct, no, SQL is never going to be extinct. SQL will continue to be the fundamental of database system, and any other database system that will come will not completely come and then take away the position of SQL or relational database system, but then it will only come to solve the drawbacks of SQL. So SQL is never going to be extent. Thank you so much for your time.